want to show you how to go to the opposite way from a rational exponent to a radical. And with these, if we can, we want to go ahead and simplify them and completely get rid of an exponent or a radical. So let's take a look. 16 raised to the 3 over 2 power. So that we know that 16 is going to be underneath the radical. And then our 3, our numerator, is going to be in the back, and the 2 is going to be in the front. We don't normally write this 2. Remember that whenever it's a 2, that index of 2 indicating a square root, it's implied. We don't typically write it. So we could rewrite this just as the square root of 16 cubed. And if we do this math, if we take 16 and we cube it, and then we take the square root of that, let's see what we get. So let's go over to Desmos again. This time, since we're using a square root, we could select the square root key, or we could select the one with the floating n and simply put in a 2. But since we don't normally write the 2, I'm just going to select the square root key, and I'm going to say 16 raised to the 3rd power. And 16 raised to the 3rd power, and then take the square root of that, is going to give me an answer, you can see here, of 64. Let's go report that in our notes. All right, so as we saw in Desmos, we are going to say that this is equal to 64. Let's change this next one to a radical. The first thing that I'm going to start with is 1 over my entire expression here, 32 to the 3/5. Remember that that negative disappears once we get rid of it by putting it in the denominator of a fraction. So now let's go ahead and take care of changing this to a radical expression. I know that I'm going to have a 32 underneath, and the back number will be my numerator, the 3. The front number, my index, is going to be the 5. Let's take this and put it into Desmos and see if we can simplify it and completely get rid of the radical. All right, over here on Desmos, the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a fraction. So I can do that in one of 2 ways. I can either touch the A over B on the right side of the keyboard here, and that will allow me to put in the 1 and then my bottom number. The other thing I could do is just type 1 and say divided by, and that's going to also give me the fraction. So I want to now do a radical with an index of 5, and then underneath I have a 32 raised to a power of 3. So the A to the B symbol, and then put in your 3. And I see that that's equal to a decimal of 0.125. We don't want to do decimals, we want to do the more precise fraction. So just simply hit the fraction key right next to that decimal, and it'll change it to the fraction of 1/8, and that will be our final answer. All right, back over here in our notes, we see that we can simplify this significantly and have a final answer of 1/8 as we were given in Desmos.